It is the middle of August. Drafts are filling up. The DraftKings $10 one is only a little half full. Is it going to overlay? Is it not? Who cares? We're going to draft one today. Let's go.
3, 2, 1, liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? I am your fearless host, Rob Coakley. You can catch me on Twitter at King Coakley. I am joined by Spike Week's own Bernie and Trev. We are doing this offline DraftKings draft. I'm excited to do it. I don't think I've drafted with both of you together yet. How's your August going for drafts, Bernie?
It's really off to a hot start. I have about 100 to 150 left to go, so it's time to really get crunching.
I'm glad that you know how many you have left to go, because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants at this point. Trev, what do you got going on for August drafts?
I'm trying to fill up the Draftkings Millionaire right now. I've got about 40 of those left. I think I'm around 65 on Underdog for Best Ball Mania. No way that's getting filled, but I want to get at least 75 and get some of this value right now.
I think I have 30 or 35 teams left to do on BBM. I think I'm right around 50 teams left on DK, and I'm going to try to get to 50 on drafters. Plus, I'm mixing in some more high-stakes stuff as we get through August, and I'm tired is what I'm going to say, but I'm ready to win all of these drafts. We are going to be on the clock in this one. Let's go ahead and share our board and envelop words. Don't know them. We are pick 5 in this draft is where I was going with that, and it's an okay spot. I don't hate it. We can get kind of one of these wide receivers that we like. It's a little earlier than we're used to here at Spike Week, but what do you guys think of the 5 spot?
I mean, not my favorite, but I do like in the second round. You do normally get an Olave or someone like that to fall unless it's an extremely wide receiver heavy room. Mm-hmm. So that's always nice. So you don't have to go into that like Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, who are almost in a tier of their own. That's like number 2 on a good team. But at the beginning of the draft, I normally just find myself Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, always right here.
Yes. I mean, that seems to be the standard. What about you, Bernie?
That's pretty much my standard too, is Hill or Kupp, whichever's there, just take them. Now it's like kind of my least favorite spot because I don't feel like there is much of a choice. Like I am purposely soft fading Travis Kelce.
Right.
So
I think a lot of people
not a whole lot of choice there.
Well, I think there is some choice. I think we can have some fun with it, and I might, depending on how this draft falls, maybe we try to do something fun in this draft, depending on what happens with these first 4 picks. Maybe we get one of those lucky DraftKings drafts where Jamar Chase actually falls to us at pick 5. Will it happen? Probably not. But it's live. Christian McCaffrey goes to 102. We're live for Jamar Chase. Will we get him? Come on, Chat Money. Chat Money really wants Tyreek Hill. I've heard him talking about it. Do I know who he is? No. But I know that he's a Tyreek Hill guy. Hopefully he's not an auto draft guy and he just goes Jamar Chase on the auto draft. He grabs Jamar Chase. The dream's dead. So that's going to do it for this show, everybody. So we do see Travis Kelce and Cooper Kupp on the clock here. We could go Cooper Kupp. I know that's kind of the standard. We could try to do some sort of Kelce thing.
You guys have funky. I'm always down for AJ Brown or Amon-Ra. Try to get Pollard on the way back. Those are 2 options that I've gravitated towards.
Real quick, does anyone want to try to do an Eckler from the 5-hole build?
I'm okay with whatever.
Well, we're gonna go to Travis Kelce. I waited too long, but maybe. Perhaps we try to build the best Travis Kelce team that there is.
Yeah.
You know, we can do that.
And that's why I mentioned with Travis Kelce that I'm kind of soft fading, because I think there's definite outs that he's a guy you need or the guy you need. Mm-hmm. I just do have some reservations based on age and things, but like there's live outcomes. Kelce is the man.
Yeah, I do think that there is clear possibilities. I've heard people say they think that if Mahomes gets there, it's because Kelce has to get there. And I don't necessarily agree with that take. Particularly, I think that there's a billion paths to Mahomes getting there this year, just based on the way that offense runs. I think you could see Mahomes getting there with none of his wide receivers hitting 800 yards. I mean, it's hitting 1,000 yards. They'll have like 700-800 yards, and you have like 4 or 5 guys doing something like that. So I think there's plenty of paths for the Chiefs, but one of the paths is definitely Travis Kelce being the lead alpha in that passing game yet again.
I think the scariest part of fading Kelce is he can regress, but if none of those receivers take a step forward, if Tony can't be healthy, then it's just like, doesn't matter if he's worse, he's still going to be the best player on the field catching passes, and he's going to get 150 targets at least in that scenario.
And the one thing we can say about Travis Kelce is as long as he's on the field, he's on the field. We can't even say that about any of the other wide receivers right now, right? We don't even know every day. I mean, Sky Moore seems to be running with the ones more, but that has been sort of a can't mess. Apparently, every Chiefs wide receiver is the best wide receiver ever. So you're just hearing a bunch of different camp reports, but you know that the one solid in the passing game is going to be Travis Kelce. So also soft fading him, not trying to talk people into Kelce. I have the same concerns Bernie had with him, but I do think like you shouldn't be full fading him is what I would say.
Now, when I do draft Kelce, I tend to try and push Mahomes to the third because the combo is so chalky that I'm like, okay, let me grab a little bit of value here since most people take Kelce and then Mahomes in the second. Is that what you guys would want to do right here and try to grab a Waddle or a Olave if he's there, or just make sure we get it?
I actually like doing Devonta Smith, and then you push around the option of Hurts or Mahomes to the third. And if they both go, so be it.
Hurts goes so far up on DraftKings, he went right at the 1-2 turn.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate for us today.
We are on the clock. I would like to take Mahomes here, which I know is very shocking for all of you guys and the listeners, but there is a particular build I want to try to get to on this
Is that a 30%?
Yeah, it's not enough. I agree. It needs to be higher. I'm not super thrilled that it's only at 30%. So something I need to work on is getting my exposure to Mahomes up. We are going to draft him right now because I filibustered so that we had to take him.
Right.
What I would like to try to build, and it's a build that we've talked about on different streams, I would like to try to get this combination of wide receivers of DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Drake London. So that's kind of something I'm thinking about. We'll see what falls to us here, because I think if we were to do that, we'd have to start by doing it in the third round. What are your guys' thoughts on a combination like that to go with a Mahomes Kelce team?
I do try to do that a lot, where if I am grabbing Mahomes, I'm trying to get some weird combos. I go to I'll do Judy a lot at like the 2-3 turn and then grab the Charger stack on the way back, something where just like not a lot of people have this. And that gets like the additional correlation during the regular season. But I like your idea as well, because those are all guys who we all love, and it's a pretty flat tier.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's switch to wide receiver real quick and see kind of just what we might like.
Yeah, because you're looking at this Keenan Allen, Debo, Amari Cooper tier. So like for me, this is all a flat tier. So I think it's okay to start trying to get this combination of 3 with this build. I think this is one of the ways to do it. The other way to do it is obviously do it with a running back. And it's a little bit easier to do this on DraftKings if we were going to do it, because you have to do 2, 3, and 4 on underdog in order to get it done. So,
and one of the things is I was actually going to say DJ Moore potentially, or Terry McLaurin, one of the two, just because of the options that those week 17 matchups give us for other guys in this area. So we're not so pigeonholed.
Right. That's fair. While I'm looking at them, where are you guys on Ramondre Stevenson? There's been a lot of talk on Breece Hall and J.K. Dobbins and stuff like that. I think Stevenson personally is starting to slip through the cracks, and I'll explain why in a second. But Trev, are you still drafting Ramondre Stevenson?
I slowed down for a little bit, and I'm starting to take him again because all the news on the pass catchers, they have Juju playing outside. If their pass catchers are that bad, Ramondre is getting work in the passing game just like last year. Like nothing is going to change. Even if they bring in a Fournette, he's still going to be one of the better pass catching options on the team. And unlike everyone else, he has juice. Like he can actually catch a ball and run 40 yards with it, break a tackle. Juju's not breaking tackles. He's not making it 40 yards down the field to begin with. So, you know, I think I definitely need to start taking him again. And, you know, it's just pretty solid option. I think he's high floor for sure, even in a bad offense.
I agree.
Yeah, my problem where I'm not getting Ramondre is I'm still taking Jonathan Taylor or Brees over him.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. The reason why I do still like Ramondre Stevenson is because I think the reason he's dropping is idiotic, to be completely honest. What people were worried about is, what if a veteran back comes in? Do we want to talk about 2022 and what their backfield was? It was Ramondre and Damian Harris. It's the middle of August at this point. Damian Harris was already, you know, ingrained in that offense, knew that offense, and Ramondre still was a stud. I don't think there's a veteran that comes in and takes too much away from what he does this year, even if it is Leonard Fournette or, you know, Kareem Hunt or whoever they end up signing. It honestly just doesn't bother me overall. Now, if you want to say it's a bad offense to that point, it's like that I understand. But in terms of a veteran coming in, I'm not scared at all for his production in sense of that.
Yeah, like he's still a good bet second half of third round here on DraftKings. Like sometimes you'll see him drop into the fourth, and that's too far for me. I'd be taking him there if those other guys were off the board.
Agreed.
I was just about to ask about the Hall if we were going to take him if he fell, but that one.
It would have been a discussion. We probably would have had to take Hall if he did fall. So our wide receiver situation is still here. We can grab McLaurin and hope London comes back. Is everybody on board with that?
Yeah, I think Judy's interesting, but we kind of made our decision on how we want to get different here. So I'm completely fine with just sticking to it.
Yeah, and if London doesn't come back, we can go Ayuk.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. So we definitely have the options here. We do have a couple guys that started wide receiver, which is not fully what happens on DK all the time. We see the one hole go Jefferson, Smith, and Metcalf. The 3-hole went Chase, Ridley, Higgins for the double, and does grab Burrow in the 4th round here to make sure that he doesn't get sniped on his QB.
Yeah, I was looking at the 11 hole as a pretty sweet start. I'm not gonna lie.
So that really depends on your Taylor thing. I was out on Taylor to begin with this year. I already was fading him, and it's one of these plays that I know can absolutely burn me, but I didn't like Taylor. I don't like the offense. I don't like a lot of things that's going on there. And we're just adding more and more red flags as we go along here. And they're flirting with some veteran backs now, which I think is a bigger deal in Indy than it would be in New England. So I'm personally fading Taylor. I'll take my risk on Breece Hall now. I'll take it on Dobbins, but I am personally fading Jonathan Taylor.
Even at these like 3-4 turn prices on DraftKings, you're still out?
Yeah, I'm still out. Cool. It's just not for me. Like I said, I think that Indy as a whole is just not an offense that I'm putting a lot of stock in. And that situation just feels like some weird shit's going to happen, is the way I'm reading it. All right, we are about to come back on the clock. We do have like a little buffer here with Christian Watson so that we can get Drake London. And it'd be super nice if he does fall to us. And
there we go.
As we predicted, Christian Watson goes, so we are allowed to get Drake London. And I finally get this wide receiver combo on a team. So we start Travis Kelce, Mahomes, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, and Drake London right there. What are your thoughts, guys, on this particular start with this Mahomes-Kelce build?
I think our team's really sexy for DraftKings. One thing that we're really going to have to keep an eye on is basically all of the running backs are to the right of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when those good 0 RB candidates come around like Dobbins or whatnot, we might have to take Dobbins 10 picks ahead of ADP. Who cares? To make sure we're blocking him from this left side of the board if he's someone we decide to be interested in.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Trev, where are you at?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, when you can get the 0 RB start that we have, where we believe we have the #1 tight end and quarterback, and I think Mahomes on DraftKings is definitely like top contender for #1 quarterback when you have the 300-yard bonus.
Yep.
So that's a great start. And then additionally, we have a unique combo. So even for the smaller amount of teams that are going 0 RB with this, there's not going to be many or any other people with this start. So I love that from a unique standpoint. And just DraftKings, you get running back values, and you have 20 rounds, so you can push it. You know, if we like another wide receiver right here, let's go grab our flex, and we can get 8 running backs to end our draft. Like, it's beautiful.
Do you guys think that the Kelce Mahomes drafters, the people that are going out and getting this combo at a decent clip, are doing 0 RB with it? Because for me, it feels like if they go Kelce Mahomes, they are going to be RB people generally, and they're kind of punting the wide receiver position a bit more. But I could be reading that completely wrong.
No, I feel like it's the classic just Kelce Mahomes, and they're probably praying for Derrick Henry to come back in the 3rd round. Like, that just seems like the greatest start for most people who start with this. So I think it's pretty unique to begin with, just going 0 RB off Mahomes Kelce.
Bernie?
Yeah, I would think it's that person that's really trying to fill out those starting roster spots first. Okay, I got those 2 at the onesies. Okay, now I get 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, or something like that. I would imagine nobody's punting off until the 7th, 8th, 9th round.
Agreed. We're going to be coming back up on the clock here in a second. So just to point out the Dobbins thing, I think we can actually push Dobbins another pick. We think we have enough cannon fodder here. Is there a wide receiver or even another running back that you guys like that's on the board right now?
I'd be fine with Javonte. That's the only running back I really like here. I don't care much about Sanders and Swift, you know. If we were to go running back, I would be Javonte. But
can we take a look at wide receiver?
Yeah. So we're looking at Evans, Hollywood, Pittman, Addison, Cooks,
I'd be
Dodson.
Addison at receiver and Javonte at.
I was going to say Addison or Pittman. So we got 2 Addisons.
All right, we'll take Addison. As much as I absolutely hate it, we will do it. I'll give you guys Addison for this one. But I'm out on Addison as well. So
I don't take a ton of Addison, but I like him in 0 RB build specifically because it opens up the Green Bay side, which besides Christian Watson is all later. And we got the Christian Watson guy kind of pinned on the corner here too. So we can have our picking of Packers if we so choose later on. I
think Addison might be my most drafted player.
Yeah, we're going to be on opposite sides of the coin here on that one, Trev. So Addison's not even a guy that I dislike. I just think the price is awful, to be completely honest. I think his price is terrible.
Yeah, it's not fully updated, but last time I put up all my drafts on Draft IQ, I was at 28%.
I grabbed him a lot early when he was a lot cheaper, but as he rose up to these 6th, 7th round prices, it's just not for me. And you guys brought up a good point about the left side of the board going RB, because right after we go Addison, we see Sanders, Williams, and Swift all go. I think we should be good to get Dobbins, though. We still have enough like guys in front that are there to kind of block Dobbins out of view. Plus, we have that out tag next to him, which is just such a beautiful thing. Really love that.
And so do we want to push Dobbins up?
That was what I was thinking with all the running backs in the back end, but you give us Addison. I'll leave it to you, Rob.
Well, I also took over this entire first 5 picks. So
Well, okay. I think we probably need to grab a running back here now that 7 straight went. I mean, not
yeah.
that we need to like lean into the push, but like these are the candidates we want on this team. And
Yeah, so after we take Addison, it literally does go 7 running backs. It goes Sanders, Williams, Swift, Cook, David Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, and Pacheco. So to the point that was made, we knew the left side of the board of us was going to take running backs. Was it going to go that heavy? We weren't sure that it was going to do something quite like that. So I do think this is the time to grab Dobbins if everybody's okay with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we're still getting 7th round J.K. Dobbins, which 7th round Dobbins is still a steal for me. There was a possibility he would come back. I don't think so. I think we would have to worry about this Jacobs drafter and this Chubb ETN drafter that would probably try to grab him with one of the 2 picks.
Yeah, and we did just see Rachaad White go off the board.
Right. So I think this was the right play for this team.
Yeah. Going back to the Addison pick, just to make my bull case, it's mainly just we saw Thielen run the 2nd most routes in the league last year. Like they were passing the ball all the time, and they had all those close wins where maybe they did run the ball more at the end where they had the 1-score wins. But I don't see what's stopping them from still passing that much. You know, they said, okay, we don't need a decent running back because he's paid money, so we'll get rid of Cook. You know, I think their running game, Madison's fine. I think he's probably about the same. I don't think they're going to want to run the ball more, and spending a 1st-round pick on a wide receiver is kind of a sign that, like, yeah, we're gonna pass the piss out of the ball. We're just gonna do it. So that's kind of my bull case. Is he's the 2nd best receiver on the team. He doesn't have to deal with that #1 coverage, and he's just going to be out there running routes. I'm not worried about KJ Osborne and, oh, he's #1 on the depth chart. Like, it's KJ Osborne. We've seen him play before.
Yeah, so for me, it's not just I agree with all of that. I just think that a lot of those targets are going to get dispersed between Hawkinson, Addison, Osborne, you know, yada, yada, yada. Like, I'm not sure Addison is going to lock in that role. I definitely don't think he's going to do it early. We are playing for later in the season, so that is a case that I could definitely see in terms of, like, you're looking for him to get some production early and then come out later. It's a 6th-round pick. Like, I'd rather take a shot on Zay Flowers over Addison, who Flowers actually has outs to the #1 wide receiver spot over OBJ and Rashad Bateman or something like that. So
I think he'd still be, like, for Zay, though, he'd still be like the #2 on his team with Andrews there, but it's a different discussion.
I think it's a smash Kamara.
Yeah, I'm in agreement here on Kamara.
I'm fine with it. We need running backs. Not my favorite, but he's the best available for sure.
I just think his price is so reduced still based on the 3-game suspension. The actual, like, uncertainty in that backfield, them bringing in Hunt was like an eye-opening thing for me, that they are probably not playing Kendre Miller much this year if they're bringing Hunt in for that little, you know, they didn't sign him, but it was close. So I think you're going to see a bunch of Williams, and then I think when Kamara comes back, he is going to have a healthy workload. But Trev, where would you have gone, Trev? It was a burning.
I'm probably going Treylon there, maybe Elijah Moore, but I think I'm just passing up on, like, that last guy at the running back tier and just saying, okay, I'll take more, especially on DraftKings. Like I said before, it's like I'm fine with just going like 7 receivers in the first, like, 9-10 rounds, and it's probably not the smartest, but there's not a lot of people doing it, and you just really load up and you have the extra rounds. So
fair. We are back on the clock here. Is anything jumping out to you guys that's on the board?
Dylan, probably. Dylan? Yeah, we have the Minnesota Week 17, and good play.
I'd be down for Dylan or Bateman.
Yeah, either or for me.
I would go Dylan with the chance that Bateman just super falls. I've seen him go in the 130s this week. Now, granted, that was right before the out tag came off, but I think people are still scared on DraftKings.
I do like the Dylan pairing to go with Addison here. We still get some early season production for when we're waiting for Kamara to come back. So I don't hate it. To your point, Trev, one more wide receiver would feel good on this team, but I don't think that's a product of taking the running back. I think that's the product of going double elite at quarterback and tight end. I think you're always going to have this problem when you do this early based on grabbing, a quarterback and tight end through the first 5 or 6 rounds. You're always going to feel slightly light somewhere else. And for us, it's going to be wide receiver as we see this absolute mammoth quarterback run go off here. Sort of started in the 8th round with Tua and Deshaun Watson. 9th round just kicks right off with Cousins, skips a pick, goes to Prescott, and the end of the 9th round goes Geno, Daniel Jones, and Jared Goff. So always a pleasure on DraftKings to see how early these quarterbacks are going to go.
So now I have to ask the question that no one wants to hear, but what are we doing with Kadarius Toney?
If he comes back to us at the 10, I mean, I'm all for it.
Same here.
So I'm historically not a Kadarius Toney guy. However, I think this is the type of team that he fits well on if you're going to do it. He might be an 11 at this point.
Did I miss him going off the?
He must have
won. I missed it.
Yeah, he must have because I don't see him.
Oh yeah,
he went in the 8th. He went.
Yeah.
Okay.
I normally see him like way down on DraftKings. Yeah, so I was like, oh.
All right. Well, you guys are spared from that. We're going to be on the clock here in a second. Is anything jumping out to either of
you? If we want to keep going, running back, Charbonnet. He's fallen since he had that little injury. I think he already came back to practice pretty quick, though.
Yeah, he played last night. Bernie?
I don't mind Kincaid here. Somebody who just has potential high ceilings to match with Kelce. Like, you can't, like, there's some tight ends that just will never beat Kelce. A Buffalo Bill might.
I'm going to grab Charbonnet because I was going to make a case for Khalil Herbert there. But if Kincaid comes back, maybe we talk about it a little more. I don't know if I like doing a second. It's probably more unique grabbing a Kincaid here, right? Early to go with Kelce. But I just think the late tight ends on DraftKings is like a money spot.
And I think everyone does that. Is why I was kind of thinking a little bit outside of here.
That's why I do like the idea. It's just, man, we are really going to get behind that wide receiver if we keep going off of grabbing some here.
Yeah, thankfully none of Mahomes' receivers are all that good, so we can still grab most of them.
That is true. That is true. All right, we are going to be coming back on the clock. What are you guys' thoughts on Tyler Boyd to go on this team as a 5th wide receiver? He's not sexy, but he could give us some usable weeks throughout the season. He is that Kansas City bring back. Do we like it? Do we want to punt it off here? Do we want to grab Kincaid if he's still on the board?
I was leaning Boyd.
Yeah, let's go Boyd.
Kincaid is I just haven't really been in on Kincaid. Probably will be the death of me, but I think if he does break out, it's going to be hard. He's still, I think Gabe Davis is definitely like the number 2 target. I think Dawson Knox is still going to play, and even if Kincaid does that slot role, we've seen Josh Allen just want to air it out a lot, not go for those like check downs. So I haven't been in on him, and I think Boyd just kind of a nice fit for when we have 4 receivers through 10.
And there are other tight ends that kind of fit the build that I'm looking for to pair with Kelce later. So it's not a hard push for me.
Yeah, Chig. I agree.
No, it will not be Chig.
I do like that I get to keep my 0% Dalton Kincaid exposure. So thank you, Trev, for that.
I was keeping your 0% Rashad Penny intact by not mentioning him in the 10th round. I didn't know you're also full fading Kincaid.
Oh, we would have pulled the full veto on Rashad Penny.
Let's not even waste my time.
That would have been my my veto card for sure on Rashad Penny. I at least entertained getting Dalton Kincaid on this team. All right. So after that big God, I keep saying wide receiver. After that big quarterback run, we do see Aaron Rodgers go, and it's kind of dipped into obscurity again. Tank Bigsby going in the beginning of the 11th round. God, I'm glad my bags are packed on Tank, because this has been that slow, meticulous rise of a player as he continues to go up the board here. 11-1. It's starting to get to that point where we're like, are we going to keep grabbing Tank Bigsby once he enters the 9th and 10th round, or are we just going to kind of say we've done what we needed to do with Tank?
Yeah, I've packed my bags, and if we don't get another share, we're fine.
Trev?
Yeah, I'm all good. Are we really going to be that surprised if Travis Etienne comes out and is just good? Even if he's not great at catching balls, like if he's just efficient as hell, are we going to be that surprised if we just don't see Tank play that much? Like, no, that seems like a normal outcome, and then Tank's just a potential handcuff that's going in the 10th, 11th round.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the upside with him based on the pass catching and the goal line stuff that we've heard, but I do think that we were getting him, we must have been getting him in the 15th or 16th round to start draft season. And we've just watched him kind of slowly move up the board, and but the drum keeps pounding, the hype keeps coming. And I think it's almost time to jump off of the Tank Bigsby train.
Rob, I think I have something that's going to take you from 6 to midnight. Is it almost MVS time?
Yeah.
It is almost
because
MVS
Rashee
time.
Rice went off. The 2-hole, I don't think, has a chief yet to go with the Bengals double.
Yeah. I would like to do a double here of MVS and Marvin Mims if possible, but I am willing to listen to any other discussions. Trev?
Those were my exact words. You just took them out of my mouth. MVS, Mims, I think are just the easy picks here.
All right. Well, let's grab MVS now. Let's get that exposure up a little bit. It's only at 33%. We gotta bump those rookie numbers up.
And there are a couple other guys after the Mims. Mingo, Jalen Reed.
But yeah, there are other guys. Mims does go 2 picks after we grab MVS. So sad times. But I think we can still recover. Right now we have a 1-4-6-1 build. We'll go over the team after we make our next pick. Let's go ahead and look at what's on the board here. Damian Harris dropping significantly.
I also have Mitchell for the bring back. I know he has the injury. I'm not sure if that's scaring people off. Well, I guess it's scaring people off. I don't know if it's scaring you guys off. Greatest tight end on earth.
Gerald Everett?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that's where we were going with that. What is available at wide out here? Oh. Not fun. Not fun stuff here. I'm all ears here, guys.
I want Harris.
Yeah, Harris would have been a good pick.
I would probably be Mitchell here, just because I don't like these wide receivers at all, and it's a pretty easy upside case.
Bernie, give me a guy and make a.
Any interest in Jordan Love to get our second QB out of the way, and we could backstack him.
That
already
sounds fun.
With Dylan.
I'm fine with that.
That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Because otherwise, we're going to stare at Ritter.
Yeah,
I know from your previous takes, Rob, you probably aren't wanting Ritter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like super into Ritter, but if it's a necessity, I've done it here and there. And I think on DraftKings, sometimes it becomes a necessity just based on what this site does with quarterbacks sometimes. Would I want him? No. I much prefer the upside of Jordan Love. And I actually like getting Love here. I like having him with Dylan, and I'd be
Mhm.
super into getting Musgrave with him later.
Yes.
Would be
Yeah.
kind of the way
Musgrave
I would like to play it.
and Reed are both good candidates we could add.
Yeah.
I like the Dylan Love combo because I feel like Dylan really benefits if the offense is good, just because he's going to be the goal line guy, we're assuming. So if we're just kind of making a whole bet on Green Bay, and then it's kind of like, okay, Love or Dylan is getting a decent amount of touchdowns this year. And then there's obviously the contingent value on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah, the contingent value for sure. I still think that there's outcomes where Dylan's just on the field more with this team this year. Doesn't mean that it's going to be good playing time, but I just think the playing time is going to be there. While we wait for our next pick, let's go ahead and go over our team right now. So we went Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Drake London. Finally get those 3 wide receivers. We followed that up with Jordan Addison, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, A.J. Dillon, Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Boyd, MVS, and Jordan Love. So if we look at our playoff view over here, we have a Cincy, Kansas City stack. Shocking if you're watching one of my drafts and see that. We have Green Bay, Minnesota, and we have Atlanta, Chicago right now. And Jesus Christ, do we see a quarterback run happen? We will talk about it after our next pick. What are you guys looking at on this board that we see here?
What's the Jaden Reed ADP? Is he someone we should just take here to secure? We're probably good pushing him.
Yeah, I think we have some cover.
Yeah, we can push him a little bit. But is there anyone else standing out? I kind of like Gainwell here as a 5th RB.
Gainwell fits.
Yeah, I was going to say Gainwell or Pierce. I know you said you're out on the Colts, so I assumed that wasn't your guy.
Well, Pierce is so late that I'm like fine grabbing him and what his skill set is. Like I don't mind grabbing Pierce. I have 7%. Like, you know, he fits into a lot of builds when you're coming up on this, 15th round. I just don't like to put a lot of stock into the early guys on Indy. Let's talk about this quarterback run, though. Probably a good idea that we grab Jordan Love because in the 14th round, we see Pickett, Garoppolo, Kyler, Purdy, and Matt Stafford all go right in a row.
Yeah, when I saw the huge run earlier and then 2 to 3 quarterbacks for 4 rounds, that's what was teeing me off that we might want to try to jump ahead of this or else we're just going to end up with Ritter. So that's just a luxury of experience in DK rooms right there.
Are you guys taking Kyler this season at
No.
like the 160-ish? No,
I'm not.
I take him when he hits over 190 and I don't have a second quarterback, and then I fill it in with Michael Wilson and Trey McBride.
that's solid. I've started getting a little bit of him just because decent if I've got like
fine.
a nice quarterback. I don't think it's a great pick, but it's all right.
So I was going to make the case that maybe we want to take Jalen Hyatt instead of Reed if we're going to be looking at Musgrave later anyways. It was a thought. We do see Reed go off the board. Is there anyone else you guys want to kind of pound the table for here?
Not too much. There's Ford, but I kind of want to grab another receiver here.
Yeah, I'd
Bernie.
get a receiver. With
Any other
Ford,
receiver?
No, we're good.
We're going to go with Hyatt. All right, we'll draft Hyatt here.
With Ford's injury possibly keeping him out through week 1, I really think that's a backfield that's live to add to one of these vets that just muddies things up for Ford all year long. And then it's a timeshare if anything happened to Chubb or something like that.
Yeah, I've been slowing down on him, especially because I've been drafting him since like before the draft, back when he was a 20th round pick, barely getting taken. But if he does have that role, which we're assuming even after the injury, it's like we're still getting a good price on him. We're assuming it's a good offense, and if Chubb goes down, then having him in the 15th round is pretty damn nice.
I like to see where he actually ends up sliding too, because we know it's not like going to change tomorrow, right? So I think the slide's still continuing. I've also been drafting a ton of Ford. I have a good amount of him between like every site. So right now we see him go in the 15th round here, but 2 days it might be 16th round, right? So at that point, I'm actually kind of like 15th to 20th round. I'm almost like whatever. I think they're all kind of the same tier unless somebody actually like slides completely. There's a few guys that stand out here and there to me, but yeah, if we're gonna get Jerome Ford in the 15th, 16th, I'll still grab some of them here and there.
Yeah, and him being held out of that Hall of Fame game, as like, that was before the injury, but still, it's kind of a signal like, yeah, we want to keep him healthy. He's our number 2.
Yeah, did a good job of doing that. Goes down the next day, essentially. But yes, I agree with you. They showed their hand that they do like him and they do want to keep him as healthy as possible. All right. So right now we have a 2-5-7-1 build. We are coming up. The other thing we could have done for quarterback if we really wanted to was push it to Howell, who somehow last here. But not something we need to do now. Quickly back on the clock. All right. Do you want the other Buffalo tight end? Do we want to grab Dawson Knox here?
If we want to, do we want to go 3 tight end with him and Musgrave, or?
That's a good point.
Is there someone else? There's Wilson, who's kind of on whatever about. It's just kind of a shot at the Miami backfield. But.
Yeah. That's where I'd go.
Gonna go Jeff Wilson. All right, we'll grab Wilson.
I have a lot of Jeff Wilson somehow just because I get into this stage where I'm like, hey, I really want one more back. I know some people don't believe in Jeff Wilson's upside out there. I do. I think there's a really good chance he has a specialized role, even if A-Chain is awesome.
I don't disagree with that. My Wilson and Mostert exposure is kept a bit suppressed because I do grab A-Chain at a decent clip. So I'm not grabbing 2 of these guys usually, which I don't think would probably be a bad strategy if you do grab 2 of the Miami backs, right? Like it's probably fine, especially when those 2 go so late. I think taking a Miami back in almost every draft is probably the way to play it.
Yeah. I have a lot of, and so it's normally like, I didn't get Tyreek or Waddle. Let's grab one of these backs. What is the ADP looking like for Musgrave? I think he's moving up with all the good reports.
202 or so.
Yeah, I'm okay with grabbing him now on this pick if we want.
I think we have to if we want to get him.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm cool with it. I mean, we're pick 197. This is the 17th round. I'd rather build out the team we want rather than like just looking for value in the 17th round. Sort of like the conversation me and Eric were having on the Tuesday show about ADP. If it messes up your team, does getting a quote unquote ADP value matter? And I don't think so, especially in these later rounds. So
yeah, and like what are we gonna do? Take Mike Gesicki?
Right.
Yeah, and I'd probably there might be another little tight end run here. We just saw 2 go off the board before us, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3 or 4 more go off.
Especially when we grab Musgrave, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, Musgrave's going already." So I wouldn't put it past the drafters to get really scared here and start grabbing tight ends. To your point. Yeah. So right now we have drafted a 2-6-7-2 build. I think we're pretty open to do whatever we want with these last picks. Our team consists of Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Jordan Addison, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, A.J. Dillon, Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Boyd, MVS, Jordan Love, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hyatt, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Luke Musgrave. So we have a slightly fun stack with the Green Bay Packers where we got Jordan Love with a running back and his tight end. We do have Mahomes with Travis Kelce and MVS. We have a bring back there with Tyler Boyd. We have a bring back for the Packers with Jordan Addison. We have an Atlanta-Chicago mini with DJ Moore and Drake London. And the Miami-Baltimore mini is with 2 running backs, but I think it's fine with J.K. Dobbins and Jeff Wilson. What are you guys' thoughts so far?
I think we got a good team so far. I like it. It's just kind of about finishing these last 3 picks out strong. Where do you guys want to go?
I'm really open. I do think we can grab more receivers if one jumps out to us in this coming round. I do think we are open to 3 tight ends late, like a 20th round pick if we feel like we can. The best pick on the board is a tight end at that point. I think we're strong enough at every other position, and we can strengthen another receiver or two or another running back. The only thing I think that's off the board for us is quarterback.
I think these next two picks are probably like running back, wide receiver, to kind of secure those rooms. We're at 6 running backs. We got our first in the 7th. But it's pretty flat. I do the ugly thing of I've been grabbing like 18th, 19th round Clyde when I have Mahomes, just as a, if he's on the team, maybe he can luck into some of those touchdowns like McKinnon did.
Yeah, he actually won the 17th round in this draft, so that wasn't going to be something
early.
we could do. It was a bit early.
I think this is a good pick for a running back. I don't think we need to force any of the wide receivers here. We can find wide receivers we like in the later rounds where we might lose out on other running backs we like.
Totally fair. We do see Allen Robinson go, so this team's just probably dead.
And Jimmy.
All right, we are on the clock here. Let's take a look at the running backs. We're seeing Cordero Patterson, Jackson, Fournette, Ty Chandler. Anything jumping out to you guys here?
I wouldn't be against Fournette just as a body that probably gets signed, but I'm down for whatever year.
I'd be Ty Chandler. So Rob, break the tie.
Let's go Fournette. I'm not super into this Ty Chandler thing. They're bringing in, there's rumors that they're going to bring in some guys to come back and back up Madison because they do not like what they're seeing from Ty Chandler and some of the other backs there. So I'm a little nervous of that particular situation. So it's actually made me raise up what I like with Madison and worry about all of the backups in Minnesota, not just Ty Chandler, but the entire rest of that backfield. It would be poetic justice if it is Leonard Fournette that goes to Minnesota.
Yeah, I've been trying to take a decent amount of these veterans. I'm assuming like Zeke, Hunt, and Fournette, they're gonna sign, and when they do, they're gonna move up, and I won't take them ever again once they're in like the 16th round. But I figure it's a decent bet. I mean, we're seeing guys. I think Damian Williams just got signed. Like, these guys will probably get a job if they just say, okay, it's late, I want some cheap money. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah. I think that we did this last year with some guys and they didn't end up signing with teams or quietly retired and we were all poor because of it. I think the amount of trips we're seeing these guys actually take to teams and sit down with teams shows that they are looking to play and they are going to get signed by somebody, hopefully before the season starts, but they are still live to get signed after a couple weeks when injuries start to pile up as well.
Yeah, and after week 1, they don't have to guarantee the contract for the whole season, so that gives them a better chance too.
Yep.
I would not be against McBride or Otten here if we do want to take that third tight end. But what are you saying,
Bernie?
I think Michael Wilson is a really good pick here.
Do we think we can get Wilson on the 20th?
It's very hit or miss. There seems to be a couple sharp people back there, but we could push it. It's fine.
All right. Well, let's grab Kate Otten then, and we'll try to grab Michael Wilson late. Kate Otten does correlate with Kamara, so that's fun. At least that's something. And then we can look to try to get Michael Wilson in the 20th round here for another correlation, which will be fun.
There's a team back there that took Kyron Williams in the 18th. So that's who I'm betting is going to take Michael Wilson from us.
He also took Ryan Tannehill, though. So, I mean,
that's fair. Oh, and then Gus. Okay. We might still be good here.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be fine.
Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I just knew I hold Kyron as like this 20th round lottery ticket. And then I hear people talking about him this week. And I'm like, can you guys shut up? Like, he's like my fail-safe running back. He's in like a group of like 4 guys I have.
There was one day I saw like 5 tweets about Kyron Williams just being a menace in pass protection. And I'm like, okay then. glad he's putting in the work.
Yeah, I've been grabbing Kyron. You know who I forget to grab sometimes? Like I want to have a little bit more of is Keontae Ingram. And for some reason, my brain just never thinks of it when I'm in the 19th or 20th round to grab him. And that's something that I need to make a conscious decision to grab more of, I think, kind of on every site. Even 18th round on Underdog, sometimes I want to make sure I'm grabbing. I'm not looking to get to 8% or anything like that, but I do want some Ingram team. Keontae Ingram teams mixed in as well.
He's a guy that took a decent amount of early, just because the Cardinals didn't draft anyone significant at all. So I was like taking some shots, and yeah, he just kind of like faded away. I haven't heard anything really out of Cardinals camp. I think they have like very few beat reporters, so there's never a lot of news. So it's hard to know like exactly what is happening there.
It was interesting with the bringing in of Marlon Mack. Did that mean Keontae was not going to be number 2, or is he just depth? Then now Marlon Mack's gone and they signed some bum. So that's even more of a bum than Mack. So
yeah, it just feels like they're bringing in bodies because Marlon Mack is unfortunately just done. Like after that injury, he was just never going to be the same. And so when you bring in Marlon Mack, it makes me feel better about Keontae Ingram's role. And then, like you said, he's gone. I think Keontae Ingram has a chance to see significant playing time. James Conner is 103 years old. So, you know, on a bad team, we might see him kind of step away to clear room to see what they actually have in Ingram at some point.
Yeah, I'm not really, whenever someone signs a veteran running back that isn't one of those big 3 guys like the Hunt Fournette group, I'm normally not too worried about the like number 2 or the projected number 2 on the team. Just because it's typically just a depth guy. They need a lot of running backs. They need bodies. People get hurt.
All right, so we are live for Michael Wilson here. All the Arizona guys are still here. So the Chase Edmonds goes. We're going to grab Michael Wilson to wrap up this draft. We will run through the team really quick. So, guys, we went Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Jordan Addison, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, A.J. Dillon, Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Boyd, MVS, Jordan Love, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hyatt, Jeff Wilson Jr., Luke Musgrave, Leonard Fournette, Cade Otton, Michael Wilson. Our playoff stacks are Cincinnati at Kansas City with Mahomes, MVS, Travis Kelce with the Tyler Boyd bring back. Then we have Jordan Love, A.J. Dillon, Luke Musgrave with a Jordan Addison bring back. Tons of minis now. We have DJ Moore, Drake London for Atlanta, Chicago. Miami, Baltimore is Dobbins and Jeff Wilson. New Orleans, Tampa is Alvin Kamara, Cade Otton, Arizona, Philly, Kenneth Gainwell, Michael Wilson. What are you guys' thoughts? We'll start with you, Bernie.
This team tells a story that when week 17 comes, if it makes the final, there's a very clear story of how it wins a 1,400 person final. And like when you're heading into this type of a draft, I think that's what you need to do. So I think it was a success.
What about you, Trev?
Yeah, I really like how we kind of played it out. We got our 2 elite guys at the onesies, and then we just went and kind of hit the tiers. You know, we got our 4 wide receivers in a row, and then we went, I believe, 4 running backs in a row and just kind of filled those out. And from there on, like out, we just took our favorite players. We paid attention to ADP, but like we were fine with reaching a little bit to get the guys that we wanted, to get the guys that correlated. So I think it's just a really well-structured team, and it just made of players that we actually believe in.
I personally really liked being able to go Kelce Mahomes and getting these 3 wide receivers, the Moore, McLaurin, London pairing that I've just wanted to do for the past month or so and just haven't pulled the trigger on it. And it's kind of opened my eyes to what I want to do with some of my other drafts. I don't want to stop doing this Moore, McLaurin, London pairing. I want to get a couple more, but with some variations. I don't want to do it Kelce Mahomes. Maybe I'll do elite QB, whether it be Hurts, Lamar. But I also want to mix in another maybe hero RB with Pollard or something like that, or, you know, elite wide receiver, because I think you can still kind of do this with a Hill or a Cup or an AJ Brown if you wanted to. So maybe trying to get this group of 3 with AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and then have these 3 wide receivers might be super fun. But that's some of the things that I'm going to mix in. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Not for me.
I'm excited that this lineup's going to win $1 million.
I'm also excited that this lineup is going to win $1 million. Until next time, everyone, make sure that you subscribe, like the channel, all of the fun stuff. Let everyone know that I'm your favorite best ball analysis, and we will see you next time. Peace. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.